I'm scouts. What do they know? They only know what they say.
Welcome, everybody, to Tackle Shop Live.
A sunny day, right there you took my breath away. A young and pretty.
Little Rich, you won, buddy. Matthew Weimer, here we go. Man, what a disaster. Yeah, I just did recommendations. They changed the platform, and I just did recommendations. You don't like our recommendations. We don't like those recommendations, Nick. Yeah, thanks everybody for coming back. Yeah, so we're messing with a new platform, and I mean it's the one we always been using. They updated it, and when I signed on, I just did recommended settings, and Nick and I didn't like them. Nick don't like those settings.
That wasn't going to work.
Sorry, guys. Thanks a lot for coming back to Tackle Shop Live. I come at you every Thursday night, 7 o'clock. And we are so happy to be here. And what I was saying earlier was, Nick, you had a second place finish in a big derby out your way.
Oh, yeah, local lake.
And what was cool was you were fishing with your dad.
That's the best. I mean, you and George know.
I mean, come on.
That's the best.
Even if it's not always, you're not always going to catch.
Yeah.
But it's the experiences, it's the laughs, it's the stories, it's everything else. And then when you do well on top of that, that just even makes it better.
Oh, it really does.
But no, it was an awesome day. All the way around, even though the weather was a little, not what we wanted, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
But we had to persevere. We caught a limit of 4, all over 3 pounds each, which that's a heck of a good average at that lake.
Oh, for sure.
And
at any lake,
really. I mean, think about it, George. A lot of those guys that are fishing to get on the EQs right now would love to have that bag.
They would have killed for a limit of 3-pounders.
So no, it was a great day. All the way around.
3-pound bass is I don't care where you go. I don't care what state you're in. That's a good fish. A 3-pound fish is the kind of fish that a lot of people come in here and show us pictures of and call them 5-pounders.
Oh, yeah.
And because they look like 5-pounders.
Nice fish.
Now,
George, good fish.
George, how old is a 3-pound fish?
Well, it depends from where it lives.
So Pennsylvania.
So here's what I was told by a biologist for the Pennsylvania Fish Commission. Now, Fish Commission's terrible, but their biologists are phenomenal. It's like they got it going on. And here's the deal. They told me that a 12-inch smallmouth in the Susquehanna River is 4 years old.
Wow.
And that fish, that's about the time that they start to reproduce. So he didn't say it's an exact, it could be 1 year before or 1 year at one season before or one season after, but and the other aspect of that is depending on where you're at, like the tournament that we're all bogged down with today that we just can't get enough of is the Bass EQ on Lake Okeechobee. And they're talking about spawners down there. And then this cold front came in, dropped the water temperature down into the 60s and backed them off a little bit. But by the end of this tournament, they could be coming back into spawn again. So, that's why I said depends from where you're at.
Right.
Like, so that Okeechobee fish is going to spawn 2 times a year minimum. That Pennsylvania fish is going to be 4 years old till it's 12 inches long. That St. Lawrence fish that is your personal best, everybody likes to say PB, that St. Lawrence PB 6-pounder that you caught is upper teens to almost 20 years old. So, yeah, think about that. Think about catching an 18-year-old smallmouth.
It's crazy.
That's why it's, fish care is like
Crazy good.
unbelievably. I mean, it took 18 years for that fish to get there.
I know.
And you know what? I got it. Okay. So the tournament was great. We talked
You probably
about
won't
that.
even be here in 18 years.
Hey,
Why not?
the tournament was great, but you talked about fish care. So my dad did not have a Bubba scale before this event, but I seen the way he calls his fish, and I'm not on that program. It's a balance beam. They're jumping off and this and that. And we're catching them in midair. And so I made sure we brought the Bubba scale, right? And he's like, you're going to have to show me how to work this thing. I said, this thing is awesome. And I'll tell you what, that made it so much easier.
Yeah.
There is no question. And man, I had to call out Bubba scale because that thing is the deal.
Oh, George and I get to use it a lot, in our tournaments, and it just takes the guesswork out of everything.
Yeah.
Tells you what to do. You don't have to think about anything about culling, man. You just go in there and grab the right color and throw it back in the water. I mean, that's what you do.
Generally speaking,
Yeah.
I'm going to be very outspoken about technology ruining our lives. And I even have a catchphrase where technology is guaranteed to let you down. That's my personal catchphrase.
Yeah.
But the Bubba scale, I mean, if you can hit a couple buttons, you're good to go.
Yeah, you got to mess with it a little bit, right, George?
I mean, there's a tiny
little curve.
Now the Bubba scale does a lot of things more than we use it for.
Right. Sure
that
does.
you would want to maybe brush up on.
Yeah.
But to Nick's point, culling is a science. And depending on the fishery, ounces are critical. Like Mike and I fished a circuit on our local waters on the river this summer on the lower end of our Susquehanna River under absolutely adverse conditions. I mean, the river was everything that can make the fishery difficult, made the fishery difficult.
Yeah.
And all the tournaments had extremely tight weights. As a matter of fact, I think the last one or the one before that we fished, 1st through 5th was 7 ounces. That's when you better be using a scale to call. I'm an old school guy. I grew up on a balance beam. But,
Oh, yeah.
you get that gangster lean going, man, you might be like, yeah, that's an ounce.
Yeah.
So if 7 ounces separate 5 paychecks, what did you do wrong? And I love the guys that go they're not prepared to call. They don't have the scale out. They don't have the balance beam out. What have you? And they're all fired up, and they get their 5th fish out alive. Oh yeah, that's great. That is awesome.
And they're the same guy that's driving home with their buddy, and they found out that they only lost by 3 ounces.
Yeah.
And they're like, we probably should have checked them fish.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like to get the scale out.
Have it ready.
I like to get the beam out. Now, I haven't come up with a great system for the cull tags.
I like the under the lid thing that those guys are doing.
I don't.
I do.
I don't.
Why not?
Because
they're right there.
as a rough water pilot,
Yeah.
that thing protrudes down into your live well, and it's got edges on it.
Yeah.
And you're banging them fish up off that thing and scarring them.
Well,
all up.
that's why they use the swimmies.
Well, I don't.
The floaties. Yeah. Well,
My live wells are kind of it's almost like a spa treatment. Like if you went on a cruise or you went to an island.
apparently not if they're banging off the roof of your lids.
It's padded.
Yeah.
I put padding on there to act as insulation. And, it's kind of important. So,
Yeah.
again,
So
I don't like that.
Yeah, so
and the way that I'm doing it currently with you,
yeah,
I really don't like that.
I know.
So the best
They get all
system that
tied
Mike
up in
and I have
knots when
come
we're
up
going
with
down the thing.
is just throwing them on the floor of the boat.
Blowing around and tying up in knots and stuff. George, get the red one. He's untangling these things. They're all tangled up.
Somewhere in the dark, deep recesses of our Skeeter boat, there is a what's a boga grip? Not a imitation boga grip, but a boga grip. Somewhere in there, it's in between the subfloor and the bottom of the hull. I mean, she's floating. There's probably about a dozen cull clips, and I don't know. I'm just telling you, there's got to be a better way of doing it.
Well, do you guys? All right. So do you weigh your fish as you catch them, or do you wait till you have a limit then worry about it?
We don't.
Oh boy.
Some days we do. But most of the days we don't. So when we get 5, George just starts. He stops and he has to go into the thing and straighten out the live well. So, that's what happens.
Well, no, it's not quite like that. So here's my system. So obviously, let's say your first fish is like, I don't know. Let's say your limit's 15 inches. Your first fish is like 16 inches. So I just put a float on it. Okay. Now I know whatever color that float is at that time, I got one fish, that float, that's my smallest one. Now, if the next one's like a big fish, I don't put a float on that. I'm not going to call that fish. So I always know that, let's say the white float is my smallest fish. Well, if the next fish is smaller than that one or bigger, okay, I kind of know my first call or my first 2 calls. Now, if they're all close, then when we catch the 5th fish, drop the power poles, get the scale out, weigh them up, and let the scale do its genius work.
Yeah.
That's not the best way to do it.
No. And Clerk Blackador is saying, hey, what do you do with the 6th fish when you catch it? Well, that's when you have to stop fishing. At that point, you have to stop fishing and call. So at 5, George starts to do his thing, even however he explained it there. And I keep fishing. And if I catch one, then I have to stop.
Well, usually you have a fish that you know is your smallest fish.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
so that first call's kind of easy.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying?
After that, chaos ensues.
But that's what I'm saying. You have to stop. Once you hit 5 and you catch a 6, the rules state you have to stop fishing until you call back to 5. And then you can start fishing again. So
and that's a good point because
and that's what you got to do. It's the rules. So
if you keep fishing while I'm calling, and there's 6 fish in the boat, then we should be disqualified.
Exactly.
So generally speaking,
we just float around there and
we both jump in on the work there.
I'm holding. He's holding.
I grab one out. He's got the scale. We hang it on the scale. We enter it.
It's organized chaos.
It's pretty smooth.
It's organized chaos.
Now this year we didn't get a lot of practice in that.
No, not after our second tournament down at that place, but
we had.
It is kind of nice too when you have like your glass boat and you're in a team tournament. You can use both live wells to your advantage.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I always have the big side and the little side.
Yeah, exactly.
The little side pump always wears out quicker.
Yeah. Yeah, we have some issues there, but anyway, it's but it's a good question, and it's a good way. You should practice it. You should have a plan ahead. And I like the catch the fish and weigh them right away. But if you're in a heated moment, you know what I mean, where the bite window's going, like it's like happening. I'm just chucking fish in the live well. I'm just chucking them in there. And I'm hoping that George is going to do something.
Well, I mean, I know what you like, but I know what you do. And
I know.
The most insulted I was ever was calling fish. And it's nasty out. I mean, there's like waves coming over the front. It's raw. It's nasty. There's minutes to go. Minutes. And I got both live wells open. I'm doing the scale, the beam, a seance, and my man boat flips a good fish, probably 3.5 plus, into the live well. Now, I found that to be very insulting. So I took the fish off. You know, he's up there like, hurry up, call.
They're hot right now, man.
Because like I had just finished all the culling process. He's standing up there like this.
I'm ready.
Looking at the forward facing. And as soon as he hears that fish splash in the water, he makes a cast. Now, meanwhile, I'm getting everything like reorganized here. It's a split second delay. I look up, you need the net. Boom, in the live well. It's uncalled for.
It's uncalled for. It's organized chaos. But when they're hot, man, it's like you can't call fast.
You got to call fast because it's like
you can't call fast enough.
I'm ready to cast.
All right.
Good times.
Yeah, good times for sure. Well, every week we have a rig of the week, and this week, and rig of the week is sponsored by Nomad Designs, the makers of Live Ops Plastics and the Greg DePalma jig that we love to death. And they sponsor a $25 gift card to a winner who does a couple of things for us. And I'm going to tell you what they are right now, because we're going to do the rig of the week right now. And this is what you have to do. You have to, I just lost it, Nick.
I'll tell him.
Yep.
Jump on there, man.
Oh, I got it.
There you go.
I got it. You got to, and this is what you do in the platform, in the Facebook or the YouTube. You got to like the post. You've got to comment by tagging at symbol Nomad Design. And then the third thing you have to do is you have to share the post. So that's the three things you got to do. And that qualifies you for Nick to do his drawing. And that puts you in the opportunity to win a $25 gift card to sfttackle.com, or to come in the shop here and get a Susquehanna Fishing Tackle gift card for $25. So at last week, Jimmy Arnold won the $25 gift card, and this week's winner for the Nomad Designs Rig of the Week $25 gift card is Shane McNaughton. Shane McNaughton. I don't know if he's on here right now, but Shane McNaughton, you're the winner of the $25 gift card. And we will be contacting you, and definitely congratulations, my friend. Thank you to Nomad Designs for their contribution to the show and rig of the week. And we will be contacting you, Sean McNaughton, for your $25 gift card.
I'll tell you what, this keeps going the way it's going.
Yeah.
This is going to be bigger than the Pennsylvania State Lottery.
It might, brother. It might. And it's a great little thing. It's a cool that they do it for us, and we appreciate it. And congratulations to Shane. George, what is the rig of the week this week?
Well, I'm taking some liberties.
Okay.
You know, it's the rig of the week. I feel like I have, set ownership of the rig of the week.
Yeah.
So not really. It's our team effort, but this week I got ownership of the rig of the week. I'm taking some. It's not a rig.
Oh,
it's an update.
Oh, it's an update.
Yep. So Mike and I were fishing a tournament. I don't know when it was, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yep.
And the bites were hard to come by. They were hard to come by. And I'm a stickler for sharp hooks, upgraded hooks. And, I made a quick change, hooked a good fish, lost them. Hook was dull. Hook was junk. Hook wasn't upgraded. I was pissed. So that right there alone, when you're out there just fishing hard, for a bite, and that's your loss, that's your reason, or could be the reason, It's unacceptable. Preach it all the time. Did not practice it. So I thought, I want to talk about hooks, specifically treble hooks. We use 4 or 5 different kinds of treble hooks on a multitude of baits. Okay. You take a big swim bait like this. All right. This is I'll probably end up sticking this hook in my hand. At some point tonight, I would take the over on me sticking the hook in my hand. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. But for example, to make my point, we're gonna look at a few different hooks here. So here is a 8-inch glide bait. Okay. And it has 2.0 hooks on it. So those are 2.0. Whoops. 2.0 short shank treble hook. So they put a short shank on there. So it's a shorter than normal shank, so that they can get a bigger gap without the hooks tangling together. That was what the designer wanted. So you have to understand the shape of the hook. That's a triple grip. Okay. That's a round bend. So if it looks like a U, there you go, Nick. Good camera work right there. If the bend on that point is making a perfect U, that's a round bend. So it means that the point is parallel to the shank of the hook. Okay. So you got your round bend. You got your wide gap, your triple grip, EWG type bend, and so on and so forth. And here's a good example for you. So here's a number 1 hook that you would put on a swim bait. It's a 2X strong. But look at the shank length. So this is a 2.0. This is 2 sizes bigger. Here's 2 sizes smaller. Look at the difference in that shank length. This hook is sitting almost inside of this hook, but yet it has twice the gap. So when you're thinking about your baits, here's your options. You'll see like this package here says 2X strong. So this is an owner stinger. This is a powerful, welded, high quality treble hook. And what they mean by 2X strong is that wire is like double the normal wire. So it's a beefier, stronger hook.
It's like a superline hook in the worm hook world.
Yeah. So
as opposed to a regular wire hook.
That's an excellent point. And here's another way of looking at it. So if you had a shad wrap that you were going to fish in the winter, which is a finesse crankbait, you're not going to put a 2X strength hook, even though you can buy a 2X strength hook in this size. You're not going to put a 2X strength hook on a finesse crankbait that you're probably going to fish on 10-pound, 12-pound line on a crankbait rod. So think about the application of the bait. So rig of the week is a discussion on the styles, the different, like, why would I not put this on this? Why would I not put the light wire hook like this on a big swim bait, right? So why wouldn't I take a standard wire and put it on a big swim bait? Because think of it like this. I'm fishing a heavy powered rod or an extra heavy powered rod, 20-pound line. That hook's going to bend. Okay. Even if I had it in the right size, it's going to flex out on me. We saw Fisher Anaya today in the EQ down on Okeechobee. He caught an 8-13 and he boat flipped it.
Yeah.
You're not doing that on a let me see. This is a number 2. You're not doing that on a number 2 round bend. Okay. That hook's going to flex. That fish is going to pop off. But you are doing that on a 2X. So this wire would be considered like 2 times as strong as the standard wire. Right? You can actually see the diameter difference. So know your terminology when you're hook shopping. 2X strong. Now, if it's standard, it's not going to have an X. But here's another thing to know. The length of the shank. So here we have Mustad, a KVD triple grip. And if you look at the package, this is size 4. And it says 1X strong, 2X short. So that means this is a 1X strong wire compared to their standard hook. But the shank, as we just discussed on that big swim bait, is 2X short. Okay, why is that important to me?
Yeah, you can upsize your hook for the same bait.
Yeah, so I'm not getting my hooks tangling.
Exactly.
A lot of times what I'll do is I'll put let's say it's a one of my favorite square bills, like a KVD 1.5. And I want to upgrade my hook. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll put they come through with 6s. So if I'm fishing really big fish, I'll put like a 4 on the belly and a short shank 2 on the tail if I'm around big fish. I just did a bomber the other day. I was throwing an old school bomber Model A. And I did that exact same thing. I went 6 on the belly, 4 on the tail. I always like the bigger hook on the tail. You might like it the other way around, right? But embrace that knowledge of that hook so that when you're modifying what your existing lure has on it, you're doing it correctly. Let me give you another prime example. So we talked about bigger hooks, stronger wire. Let's talk about a smaller, lighter wire. So you can all relate to a jerkbait like a Vision 110. You can all relate to that jerkbait. Okay, that jerkbait has a light wire hook on it. You can all relate to a popper, like a Pop R, Don Ivino Splash It, Pop Max, Pop X. They have lighter wire hooks on them. Okay. So if you go back in the hook aisle and you start shopping, you're like, okay, I need a lighter wire hook. Well, I don't want this Owner Stinger treble. But Owner has another treble that has the right determination on it. Here's a hook that's made by BKK that is and you'll see on it here, it says UL, ultralight. Now check this out. This hook was built specifically for jerkbaits. And I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to show you a standard hook at the same time. So they don't even have a terminology for this. So if this is standard, this would be like -1X. Okay? So I'm fishing this on a lighter rod, lighter line. I don't want to upset the balance of my jerkbait with, the need to replace hooks on it, or my finesse top water, or my finesse crankbait, finesse. And I'm like, man, I just don't have the right hook I need. So look at that. I mean, you can see that clearly. So my thing is if if this hook is a standard hook, I call this a -1X. It's a light wire, but they're strong wires, okay? And they're coated, so they're very slippery. So if you look at different brands, they'll have, different coatings on them. For example, Like the Hayabusa has the NRB coating. Gamakatsu, the Aaron Martin series of treble hooks, has the tournament wire with the gray the slick gray coating, and so on and so forth. So the terminology is important. The style of hook's important. Now, as far as which one's better, that's for you to decide.
Yeah.
And you to decide, and cameraman Nick to decide, and I to decide. Now, opinions, I'm going to take it around the round table here. Me, I'm an old school round bend guy. 9 times out of 10, I'm putting that Gamakatsu round bend or somebody else's round bend. I've been fishing the Hayabusa as well, the TBL 930 with the NRB coating. I've been fishing the standard bronze Gamakatsu. I've been fishing all the Aaron Martins, but I like that round bend. Okay. I'm not anti any other bend. That's what I like.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Mike? What's your go-to treble for like general purpose, like crankbait fishing, and why?
Well, I mean,
I've seen your crankbait box.
I like a sharp hook.
I've seen your jerkbait box. I've seen your topwater box.
I'm not going to lie to you.
Your jerkbaits usually have 3 cutoff knots on them, and it's missing half the
I'm
points.
not going to lie to you. I love the idea of the new UL hook that came out, so that we can change the hooks out real easy. Don't have to worry about putting the wrong hook on a finesse jerk bait that's going to mess with the action of the bait. So I pay attention to that stuff, but I'm just kind of like and another thing I do is I definitely, if it's a jerk bait or a crankbait that has standard hooks on and you don't know what they are, then I go into the hook box and change them out to the round bend Gamakatsus, just because that's what we have.
Yeah, we fish together. Yeah. Mike and I fish together a lot. We carry a box that's full of, a variety of trebles.
Yeah. I did make efforts already to go to the short shank, Mustad, triple grip, KVD, since, me and him are buddies. And, we've educated each other on the water.
Formed a bond, if you will.
Yeah. So I made an effort to switch up some stuff to the short shank KVD and upsize my hooks, especially when we were, fishing and catching big ones and fishing shallow water and we're out there, with a little heavier rod, a little heavier line. And I understand all that.
And I think that's the most important point of it.
Yeah.
Is understanding the rod and the line you're using.
Yeah. So that's a big deal. And, but I don't have a love for one hook company. I don't say that I'm just a Mustad guy or I'm a Nomad guy. I look at the hook, and if I like that hook for that particular application, that's the hook I put on. And we do have a nice selection of hooks in there. But when it comes to jerk baits, that UL hook, to me is
it's a niche.
It's a niche. It's the one you put on, because I tell you, I break so many Vision 110 hooks with my pliers, taking them out of fish, just break them right off, because I'm too rough with it or whatever. So it's nice to have that hook that you can put right back on. And it's not affecting that bait at all. That's important.
What about you, Nick? I'm sure you've experimented with a lot of different treble hooks. What's your feeling? Because I'm interested to hear that.
I am a big triple grip guy, especially on my crankbaits. KVD has been a big influence with that. Now I will say, along the lines of what you guys were talking about, I do like to upsize my hook a little bit on my crankbaits when I replace them. But you got to be careful, because you can take some of that hunting action away if you sometimes overhook your bait. Now for jerk baits, I love I do love throwing the Vision 110s. I do like to keep the hooks on it. They do. you guys carry extra hooks.
Yeah.
I'm stashed with replacements because I tend to be a little rough, just like you, Mike, and that's what I do. But there's other hooks I like to use too, but those are my main contributors to what I like to do.
So another aspect of hooks that I think is first and foremost in every angler's mind is the confidence in a hook. You know, we're getting to the point now with hooks where we have got like,
There's a jillion of them.
I mean, we got one from column A, one from column B, one from column C. We're building like just futuristic hooks.
Yeah. By the way, George, you don't need to put any more hooks in here.
Oh, we need more hooks. I mean, we only carry like 9 brands, but we love hooks.
He does love hooks, man.
So here's the deal. I would say if you don't have a favorite, and you want to upgrade hooks on your baits, okay, and I get that. You know, the bait. This is a 2-part thing because the bait business has changed a lot. You know, Spro comes out of the pack with Gamakatsus.
Right. I love that.
All right. Now, I'm a big I'm a fan of many baits, but I'm a big fan of like Strike King baits. I gotta say, their hooks, not the best. They're fine for fun fishing, but if you're fishing a tournament or if you're like steel cage death match with your boys,
Yeah.
you need to change your shit out because they're not the best. You know, Rapala, they own VMC. As a rule of thumb, they're coming through with a good hook, so on and so forth. Having said that, you know, there's a whole like there's reasons to upsize. There's reasons to like, for example, I know I'm stammering along here, but last winter in our winter league tournaments, I'm a big trap yo-yoer, and I do it on a medium powered rod, 10-pound line. So I'm not really, and I'm a big Spro Uruku guy. I like that, and I like the Jackal TN70. That's what I like. That's what I usually yo-yo. And I upgraded my hooks. Now, keep in mind, the Spro comes through with Gamakatsu. Now, the ones I upgraded were beat up bad. They have caught a bunch of fish, and I thought, I'm just going to do an experiment. It was the night before a tournament. I was in here at the shop Saturday night after work, rigging up rods. I just happened to bring some rods with me. And I put new line on them, my 2 trap rods, and I rigged that trap up with that ultralight BKK hook, thinking in the winter, those fish's mouths are really hard. And, you know, a lot of times that's a slack water bite, and you don't realize it instantly. And I caught every fish I weighed in for an entire winter league series yo-yo in a trap. Me, not Mike, just my contribution to the team. They were all good fish. I didn't never lose a fish. So my thing was, it's a lighter wire hook, super sharp, super strong wire, lighter rod, lighter line. I felt as though it matched up. Now, would it be the right hook for summer, spring, fall? Maybe not. But it did a great job. That was a good testing ground. My point is, think about the circumstances that you're going to encounter. And, you know, if you're a techie-minded person or you want to experiment a little bit, you know, don't not fish a triple grip because you don't try it. Maybe you like a triple grip. Maybe you don't. You know, there's subtle differences there. Don't not fish a round bend. Fish them all, but give them a long, extended workout, and then you'll get that comfortable feel for your, you know, what you like.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of the stuff you're buying, like you buy a Spro, you're getting a round bend. Gamakatsu. Right?
Yeah. When you started this conversation, George, you said we were fishing a couple weeks ago and we were fishing a crankbait And one of the things that we were doing was grinding a crankbait on the bottom, Nick, where, we were just, it had to have a lot of contact, basically grinding it from 3 or 4 cranks all the way back to the boat. It's glancing, it's doing its thing. It's just grinding, the lips all getting chewed up. But at the same time, the hooks are getting, you're popping it off. You're feeling yourself hang up. You're popping it off. Your hooks are taking a beating.
I went through 6 hooks that day.
Yeah, and
changed out 6 hooks.
And George and I were, we were like fishing, doing this thing, and again, the bite window was happening, and when you took the fish off the way to fish, you noticed the hooks were bad, and I was trying to file them, it wasn't working real well, and he's like, give me that rod, I'll switch it out.
I just put the hook box out on the floor of the boat and started changing them out.
And he gave me his rod, and I started fishing his rod, and then he's changing the hooks out, and
we caught a lot of fish on a crankbait that day.
And we did, but you got to realize that when you're banging around the rock and the structure, the stuff that we were fishing that particular day, that you're going to roll points off. Now, you either do 2 things. You carry a nice file with you, and you know how to file.
Touch them up.
Because if you don't put the right angle on them, you screw them up right away, and it's impossible to bring them back. I'm not the greatest hook sharpener. So I hold the hook funny, and I have to get the right angle. And sometimes I push down too far, and I roll that tip down, and then I have to try to bring it back, and it's impossible to bring it back. So, so to do that, you need to have your, an easy, nice hook box that's labeled up real nice, that has all your different hooks in there. And then you need to have the tools. And one of the tools that we're so big on, is split ring pliers.
Best set of split ring pliers on planet Earth. And that's the Texas Tackle. It makes changing hooks out so much easier.
Yeah.
Now, I would like to say most times you're on a crankbait or a topwater or jerkbait that has bad hooks on it, you're better off changing the hook than sharpening them because of the time. You put that new hook on, you're good to go. And my little tricks for that are, so let's say we're going to change this hook right here. So my little deal is I use my plier to rotate the split ring. Okay, now what I like about that plier is when I open that split ring, the bottom jaw extends past the splitter. And it keeps that split ring from rolling underneath the jaw. If that bottom jaw and that splitter were even, that split ring would want to roll under that jaw. So now what I do, and this is just in an effort to be efficient, is I start that hook off, right? But while that's open, I put the new one on. And you can use your split ring pliers to do this, or you can just, because it's open, it's a little easier to do. Whatever works best for you. And then I just use my split ring plier, and I kind of roll that hook over, grab the split ring again. You'll be amazed at how quick you'll get at this. And what you're doing is you're taking one off, and you're putting one on all at the same time. And whoops, I took it back off.
I know you were going a little hard there.
Yeah, well, I went backwards on that.
Yeah.
But same thing. You're taking the one off.
Yep, and
you're putting one on.
And the other one snaps right on there.
And it's a time-saving measure. It's a efficiency thing. But I found that changing them out is quicker than sharpening them a lot of times, especially when you're cranking all day and you're grinding rock. Mm-hmm. So this week's rig of the week is rigging of the week.
I like it.
Yeah.
George.
It's knowing your hooks.
Yep.
It's learning the terminology, understanding what the purpose of the bait, the rigging that you're fishing it with, rod, reel, line, the whole 9 yards, and matching those hooks up for maximum efficiency. We have them.
Yep.
The hook companies have given us all access to every kind of hook that we could want.
So, George, in pre-production, we were pumped up about this topic here, but I'm going to put you guys on the spot here because you've been in this business for a long time. You've dealt with a lot of treble hooks over the years. What has been some of the technologies that has advanced treble hooks, in your opinion, to where we are today?
Well, two, the wire. So, these hooks are made out of wire. They're made from a wire. So the type of metal that makes that wire and the coatings, okay, have advanced them the most. But there's subtle things. For example, if you look at Mustad, for example, who's a worldwide hook company. I mean, they're massive. You got a inline triple grip and a triple grip. Okay. Now, this is the kind of subtle stuff that's available to us. So the inline triple grip, and if you look at the way this hook hangs, this hook hangs kind of like all treble hooks hang. It's kind of like the point of this hook wants to come up here. Now, will it rotate around a little bit? Sure. But the inline has the eye orientated in line with the front point. So when you put that on correctly, like this, it straddles the bait. So when it's running back and forth, it's straddling the bait. It's more efficient. Okay. Is it better? Is it worse? It's a pretty good hook. But that's the kind of subtleties that we have in hooks. So
The sharpness.
That's what I've noticed.
Yeah, the sharpness of the hooks came a long way too, Nick. The chemical sharpening, the different types of edges that they're putting on them, the processes and sharpening. Because of the wires advanced so far. These hooks are super sharp, man. They come out of the packs like, laser beams, man.
Gangbusters.
Yeah, they're just getting in your fingers, man. They're sticking to everything. I got, I cutting them out of my gloves all the time and just touching them. It's just crazy.
Now, guys, I will say this. The hook is only as good as the split ring it's attached with. So keep in mind if you're a glide bait guy and you're setting up for big giant fish, make sure that split ring is a power ring. Okay. So a lot of times we're gonna go to a what's called a power split ring. It's gonna be like a hyper wire, or it's gonna actually be like a Spro power. And if you're back there in the aisle looking at them, you'll actually see a diameter difference. It's kind of like the hooks. So now, do you need that on a Don Iovino Splash It? No, you don't. You need a standard light wire swivel. But if you're on a split ring, but if you're on a big bait, keep that in mind as well. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like the rig of the week, the aspect of the rigging of the week.
Yeah.
Now, I know it's a little bit of a stretch.
One little cool question is when you take a treble hook off, Mike Reinhold's asking, is it important to put the other hook on the same exact way? Is there a right way and a wrong way of putting it on?
If you have an inline, like if you have an inline treble hook, like this is an inline treble hook.
Yeah.
You'll have, if you put the hook on 180 away, that point that should be facing forward will be facing to the hook. So just kind of hold it up there first.
Okay, yeah.
The other treble hooks, no.
Okay.
The eyes are at an angle to where that hook will rotate a little bit and give you the best it's going to give you.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you're into that whole inline deal,
inline deal, you have to know which one's the leading hook. Yeah.
Yep. And you just hold it up.
Yeah.
And you can see.
It's easy to see it.
Essentially, the inline treble hook, the eye of the hook is perpendicular to the split ring. So the split ring's hanging down like this. Mm-hmm. The eye of the hook is like this. And they're just built that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
The rest of it is no. You can put it on one side or the other.
Yeah.
Yep. But I would recommend to everyone watching and listening, We all have boxes full of crankbaits, boxes full of jerk baits, boxes full of top waters. How many times are you fishing and the bite is difficult, or you're working for your bites? Do you really want a dull hook or a bent hook or a treble hook with a point broken off, or bent out, or just anything other than correct? Do you really want that after all you went through to get to that point, to get that bite? That's what kind of goes around in my head. It's like, I will sit down in the middle of a freaking tournament and change hooks on a bait. And, two hooks on a crankbait, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Retie, boom, back in the game. Because I don't want that. I don't want to screw that up because my hooks are just destroyed. If you're just out plinking around, you don't really care. Well, then who cares? But if you're not, you could be locked into a steel cage death match with your fishing buddy. And, you don't get that $1 for the first fish, $1 for the biggest fish, $1 for the most fish. That's how we roll.
Yep.
Those are 3 big dollars. My hooks are going to be right.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go, man. There you go. The rigging of the week, I guess we'll call it this week.
Yeah.
And it was a great conversation, something that we need to touch base on every so often and kind of remind ourselves of it. And that's just great stuff right there.
Boys, next week, it's a little, from here on out, the rig of the week is going to be like a little personal, because next week we're going to go back in the Wayback Machine to when the Bootfoot Swimbait first got serious. And we're going to talk about a rig that was developed out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
That is just still money today. So next week, do not miss.
Yeah.
Rig of the week.
That's right. Well, we're a tackle shop, and we love tackle, and we love talking about tackle. And this is one of our favorite sections. This is called Tackle Talk. And I love tackle. I love fishing tackle. I tell you what, we've been getting some great stuff in these last couple of weeks. Just cool stuff coming in. We've been bombarding the interweb with all of our little videos of all the hot stuff, trying to keep you guys up to date on what is going on, what's happening, what's hot. George, what is going on in the world of fishing tackle today?
Well, it's a lot. There's a lot going on, and a lot of it ties into the time of the year, which I like. This stuff comes out at the ICAST show, and everybody's like, I got to have this. I got to have it. When's it coming in? When's it coming in? Well, it's here. But what's cool about it is it ties into the season, right? Like, I really enjoy, and I'm just going to use me as a reference here. I really am into swimbait fishing. I've just gotten into it more and more all the time, every time I go out. And, we got a lot of swing baits. So we're going to talk about Buka brand, which is a GSM company that is guided by Mike Buka, who is the inventor and owner and head honcho at Bullshed.
Mm-hmm.
So that Bullshed is the custom, garage resin swim bait company that Triton Mike Buka founded many years ago, ahead of the curve.
Yeah, he was one of the original guys that did this, and all hand painted by a lady.
Well, back then I don't know what he was doing, but now, he's expanded his realm and he partnered up with GSM, who is, basically got like unlimited fundage and is in the business of becoming a powerhouse in the fishing industry.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is they didn't start Buka brand. but they resurrected Buka brand. Buka brand was associated with a company in the industry that was kind of like flash in the pan. They came, they went. It just didn't work out for them.
Really?
Huh?
Really? Buka.
No, not Buka. Buka's a rock star.
No, I know, but Buka brand was
Well, it wasn't even called Buka
Oh,
brand.
okay.
It was a sort of a spit. Some of the plastic baits, like the baby bull shad,
yeah.
were a spinoff of the company that was associated.
Oh, okay.
With, like,
yeah.
I don't even know who they're associated with.
Yeah.
But
Right.
anyways,
Right.
now they're with GSM and they are pumping out some
Beautiful baits.
awesome ABS plastic, which is what your crankbaits and your top waters are made of, versions of Buka's famous resin swim baits. So, they have the baby bull shad. Well, they have a ABS baby bull shad. They have a trick shad.
Mm-hmm.
So last year they brought out the 6-inch trick shad. Here it is. This was the last year, about a year ago launch, or maybe even longer. Now they have the 8-inch trick shad. Okay. So this bad boy is the big brother of this bad boy. And I mean, we're essentially talking about like primo swim baits that do all of what we want them to do, but they're reasonable. This is a $49.99 bait, okay? It's got the plastic tail on it. Comes with an extra tail. Easy to change. Just knock that key out, put the tail in, put the key back in. We've got swiveling hook hangers.
Big time important on a big bait.
Okay. We've got correct split rings. We've got, talking about hooks. We've got Mustad triple grip
2X.
2X. We got a 3-ounce bait, so you can throw this on most swim bait rods, no problem. So this will fit in your realm. So if you're looking for a bigger profile, and I don't know if you got to watch Bass Live today, but Fisher Anaya,
Yeah.
he had an 813 on a glide bait about this size. So we have all kinds of awesome colors. So that one there was, make sure I get this right. I'm reading it upside down. Pearl bone. So that's your pearl bone. And I'm going to tell you, it's a little more pearl than bone, but it's got that like
Glimmery to it.
And look at the line tie. That line tie is below center. Okay? Very important. Here we go. Threadfin-tastic.
I like the name of that one.
Threadfin-tastic. I mean, that's like an accurate reproduction of a threadfin or a gizzard shad. Look at that bad boy. And I love that shad spot. You see that shad spot on there? I love that shad spot. And I'm going to tell you a story about the shad spot. So, the theory is it's like another eye on the bait fish to throw off the attack response, whatever. But I'm going to tell you my version. So curl up next to your fireplace on this cold night. Go ahead, take a minute. Grab a beverage. I was doing a seminar on the hog trough many years ago. And it was a long time ago. It was probably like 10 plus years ago. And I was doing my seminar on swim baits. And at the time, I was really like infatuated with line through plastic boot foot swim baits. I was all in on that. And it was Optimum Baits, which is a brand that is managed by the company in California that brings us the Depth Sakamata shad, which is popular today. So many years ago, we were selling all their stuff, and that swim bait just had me like, Mike had a big tournament on it up at Oneida Lake. We did really well in that swim bait. So I'm doing a seminar, right? And tucked in my back pocket is a Sharpie pen. And the line through, now I don't have hooks on this thing. I have a split ring. So I fished it through the bait, tied a split ring on. I'm going over all this with the crowd. And, this is at like the Harrisburg Sports Show. I usually don't get a very big crowd. This was a big crowd. This is a disaster. So in this tank is swimming this brown trout that's about 10 pounds, probably 9. And he doesn't like my swim bait at all. And the bass don't like my swim bait at all. They're kind of looking at it. So I pull this pen out of my pocket and I'm talking in my microphone and I'm like, I'm a big believer in this shad spot. And I paint this shad spot on the swim bait. Chunk it down to the other end of this tank. I'm standing. It's like the cutout of a boat on the front, like the front deck of a boat. I'm standing. You're up there. You're up.
Yeah.
And I'll throw that thing out and I start slow rolling it back. I talked about a nail weight and everything. It was a great seminar. This freaking brown trout comes up, sucks that bait in, and it blows out his gill. And when I tighten up the line, it pivots sideways and pins him on the outside of the gill. I'm like, son of a. Now I'm on top of this freaking boat. The top rails of that tank are about that wide. And let's just say
George doesn't have cat-like reflexes.
Yeah, climbing around on that stuff ain't exactly what I was put on this earth to do. More of a bull in a china shop kind of guy. So I got to climb down on top of this freaking tank, and these people are either going to see me fall to my death or fall into the water. So I'm like, as I'm stepping down, I thought, oh, the mic. So I took the mic off the box so I didn't blow it up. Could probably get charged for that. And I get down on top of this rail and I'm kind of crouching down and I pull this big ass trout up there and I bite the line off so that he can freely go away. But the point of the story is, other than the humorous aspect of it, is that shad spot. Those fish showed no interest in that bait. I'm a big believer on the shad spot all day long. And I always like to put it up front here. Some people I fish with like to put it back here. And I'm a big believer. If you don't have a shad spot in your boat, you should have a Sharpie. Dial one on there. It takes a couple seconds. Always have a shad spot. That's what I call it. I don't know what it's called. I call it a shad spot.
Target.
So get yourself some Sharpie markers in your boat, in your kit with your dye markers and your spike it and whatnot, and paint that shad spot on all of your bait fish imitating swim baits.
Yeah.
That's your public service announcement for tonight. So getting back to this 8-inch trick shad, $49.99. If you guys like throwing swim baits, I showed you Thread Fantastic. I showed you the pearl bone. Check this out. Glimmer bone. Now, I mean to tell you right there. Now, the 6-inch trick shad was a pretty successful lure for us. We have a guy on our pro staff who's on the GSM pro staff, and one of the brands that they have him fishing is Buka brand. And he was very pleased with the 6-inch. Here we go. Because a shad imitating bait should also be painted like a bluegill. So we have Ghost Gill. You always want to have something like that in your repertoire. And then last but not least, the number one color in the whole lineup, at least the 6-inch, is the matte shad. Okay. at shad. So that's your 8-inch trick shad. Pretty exciting stuff. Now check this out. The bait that put Buka on the map was the bull shad.
Yeah.
5-inch. The 6-inch really put him on the map. 6-inch is like the key bait. And he does them all the ways up to like 12-inch. You know, if you're like, I don't know what you're doing with that. That's like throwing a shoe. But they took the 5-inch bull shad. Now, last year or a couple of years ago, they resurrected this company. They did the baby bull shad, which is already out there. But this is the 5-inch bull shad. So now we have an ABS plastic version of the 5-inch bull shad with all the features of the trick shad I just went over. 1 ounce, number 2 triple grips. But check this out. If you like a smaller glide, $24.99. Okay.
Yeah, and it has 4 segments.
Yeah. So it's exactly like the bull shads
Yep.
that are resin,
Right.
which are right over there.
Yep. We got them.
If you come in the front door and take a hard right, you will see a beautiful selection of Buka OG resin, bull shads, bull herrings, bull wakes, bull rats, bull this, bull that. So we got all the same colors, 5-inch bull shad, same colors as 6-inch trick shad or 8-inch trick shad, in stock, ready to party. 1 ounce, number 2 triple grips. One thing I did not test. We are going to do a test. This is live on camera. I'm talking, this has never been done before. No swiveling hangers on the 5-inch. Okay. Just so you know. That's some Geraldo stuff right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, where are we at on this whole swim bait thing? I know Nick was telling me he's a big fan of like the 6-inch size.
I like it.
I mean, to me, it's hunting.
Well, here's what I think. At the very least, it helps you identify where fish are too. A lot of times they're going to follow the bait. You're going to see some of the biggest fish you ever thought lived in that body of water. You're like, whoa. Do they always commit to it? That's the trick. But they do. And a lot of guys, including myself, have caught some really nice fish. Now, I have not fished anything bigger than the 6-inch. So I can't attest to anything bigger, but I know guys who have, and they love it. But they're hunting big fish.
You know, I mean, my last 2 weekends, I did a ton of just straight up swim bait fishing and didn't have a ton of success. I only caught like 5 fish in 2 trips. But here's what I found interesting. And I found this interesting in the Bass EQ on Okeechobee today. So they had a big cold front, tough bite. A Fisher and Yaya caught that 813 on a big glide. And that's the point I want to make that I'm learning. The presence of the bigger bait. So last weekend, I spent a ton of time throwing the little guy from Spro, which is a hell of a bait. This is a hell of a bait. You know, there's times when that smaller bait is going to play. Last weekend for me, this did not play. But I also had tied up, this is the bone little guy, okay? I had the 180. This is a 120. I had the 180, the Chad Shad tied up. And I ran this through an area that I knew was holding fish because I caught one on an A-rig. I could see some on the scope. I picked that 180 up. First cast, got hammered. So sometimes it's like they're not eating a big bait, but that whole presence is just like a frenzy type atmosphere. Now, keep in mind, we're not talking about catching like a pattern here where we're just going down the lake catching multiple fish. That's not what glide bait fishing is. It can be when they're on smaller baits. This can be like a big crankbait. But When you're on the bigger, 6 and 8 inch glides, you're hunting. Okay. He was scoping today, Fisher. And the cast he made was behind his boat because he saw a big return high in the water column. And that fish, he had thrown that whole area with jerk baits and minnows. It just wasn't having it. But when he put that big, bad Leroy Brown out there, predatory instinct kicked in, attack.
Well, it's funny you say that, George. When you really think about how many baits we've thrown in our years, jerk baits, spinner baits, soft plastics, how many fish have you caught over 5 pounds? Okay. But when you throw these bigger baits, they're more apt to eat that bait. Why? Because they're lazy. They want to, if they're going to attack something, they want to make sure it's worth their while.
Maximize.
And it makes sense. It just makes sense.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of fun to throw. See a lot of cool stuff with them, bringing up fish, finding schools. We use them, find a lot of schools of fish.
Yeah, I mean, we see them.
And you see them come up, 2, 3, 4 of them following it, and especially this time of year. Sometimes you catch that big one right away, and when you're reeling that big one in, there's 5, 6 behind it, so it starts a whole thing, it kind of starts that whole pattern looking thing for where the fish are actually hanging out. So there's a lot about a glide bait and a swim bait, but the guys who are hardcore glide bait guys and swim bait guys, they want to catch big fish, and they want to catch, in a day's period of time, they want to catch as many as they can, but they're looking for 5 or 6 bites with those things, and that's about it. But they're going to catch them. They're going to catch big giant fish, especially this time of year right now. Is if you want to build a confidence in these kind of baits,
time to go.
This is the time to throw them, because we talked about it. Fishing is about confidence. If you have confidence in something, you can almost will those fish into biting it because of the way you're fishing it. This is the time to build the confidence in the swim bait because they are looking for those bites. You put it great. Those big fish, they don't want to chase stuff around all day long. They don't have it in them anymore. I ain't running after kids anymore. I'm not doing that stuff.
Well, if you really think about it, now we're all old school.
Yeah.
We're trying to get bites.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out any pattern on a lake to get bites. But if you really think about, you need 5 big bites if you're in a tournament.
Yeah.
What's the best bait that you could probably throw?
Yeah.
Well, I'll even take it one step further, Nick. To me, if you're in a team tournament, like you fish with your dad, Mike and I fish a lot of there's a lot of times in our tournaments where he's filling the live well and I'm hunting one good one. I mean, I'll go 4 or 5 hours, and a lot of the fish that I see, he catches. There's many a time I roll a big fish, he throws a spinnerbait in there, and it's so hot and fired up, it just smokes it.
You got it ready.
I threw that first cast in there, and that was like, I would have liked to have caught it myself, but it's in the live well. The whole swim bait thing is like, it's the hunting aspect.
But
you're a hunter.
Yeah. But then there's that day. Then you have that day where the stars align, the bite is on, the fish are feeding hard.
Well, you're done now.
Everything is awesome, and they just
it's over.
Smoke that thing, and then that's where you get crazy about swim bait fishing, because you have that day where you caught 8, 10, 12 fish on a swim bait, and it was just the greatest day ever.
I'll tell you what I noticed, Nick. And this is a great situation that occurs in swim bait. And so our main man, our hero, Greg DePalma, was fishing on the Pasquotank River, Sound, Bay, whatever it's called. And he was on big fish in practice. He was radio silence. He was shut down from the world. It was going to go down. And he had a decent first day, but not even remotely close to what he was actually disappointed with a decent day. The next day, He caught a mega bag, skyrocketed up the standings. He caught every one of them on a 10-inch clutch glide bait.
Unreal.
They all of them, the whole limit on a 10-inch clutch glide bait.
They're easy.
And that was in a not tidal, but a tidal like estuary fishing 2 to 5 foot of water.
What was his weight that day, George? Do you remember?
You know, I don't remember. It was high 20s.
It had to be in the 20s.
Yeah, it was a really good bag. And I called him and I'm like, what? He said, I should have had that on the first day. And then he said the third day, of course, that's glide bait's locked in his hand now. The third day, it was just one after another blowing up on it and not eating it. So he had to catch them on the backup bait. So, you know, it's a very, like, there's not a lot of rules of engagement here.
Right.
Keep it in your hands.
Yeah.
Good things happen.
George,
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, because out of the people I know, you probably throw it the most. What is your favorite retrieve?
So the biggest thing with a glide bait is the retrieve. You know, and what they do, the terminology refers to either a like a gliding retrieve or a chopping retrieve. And it depends on the bait. Some baits are different than others, but a gliding retrieve, when you retrieve a glide bait on a straight wind, the reason it's called a glide bait is it swimming, okay? Swimming along, nice and happy, and doing a big S. The river to sea S waver, that's how it got its name, which, by the way, is a great glide bait. So you're swimming along and you're doing this S. Nice and lazy S. Some of them are narrower, some of them swim wider. That's one retrieve. Another retrieve is what they call the chop. So the chop is most often done with the reel handle. You know, we always say you work your baits with your rod and you retrieve the slack line with your reel. Well, in glide bait fishing, you'll chop the bait with like that snap, 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 or you might snap, snap, snap. It's kind of like working a jerk bait. You got to figure out that cadence, you know, and what that bait does then is it does basically, essentially, the best way to put it, it's an underwater walk the dog. Snap, snap. And the longer you let that pause, the more it's going to glide. So if you snap it, it'll glide. Snap it, it'll be a wide glide. Or if it's a quicker, it's tighter. So it's kind of like a spook type retrieve. Mm-hmm. And then there's like the hybrid where you're just glide, glide, snap. And that's for that. Just picture a fish following that bait in. And then you just throw him a crazy Ivan and he reacts. What's the best? What's the right? What's wrong?
It's all in a day.
It's fishing.
It's all in a day. It's just
fishing.
like anything, you know, retrieve of a crankbait, retrieve of a jerk bait, retrieve of anything. You got to figure it out for the day. So it's good to learn. I know guys who in the fall just like that dead, you know, just that nice, lazy, dead reel. There's, you know, then you'll talk to another guy who's just a chopper. You know, he's just a chopper. But colder the water, of course, that slower, straight retrieve, just that nice, slow. Sometimes you speed it up, and it's just that nice, slow, SE kind of retrieve with it. That's what really draws those fish up to it. And I'll tell you another thing about them. You can go down a bank, like just a shallow bank, you know, a regular bank, and toss it right up on the bank and reel it back, just like you would a spinner bait, just like you would a chatter bait, just like you would anything. You do this, you know, that's what you do with it. You chuck it right up in there and just reel it back, just like you know, going down a bank covering water. And you know, then you just I love
fishing laydowns. and boat docks with glide baits. I love it. But anyways, without getting all bogged down on that, we have the 8-inch trick shad in stock, the 5-inch bull shad. We got a big time reload on Chad Shad little guys. Just got another couple hundred of these in, all the colors. Yeah, so that was a good discussion, guys. The next thing I want to talk to you about, and this is tackle talk. This is a product breakdown. This is something we're pretty excited about.
Yeah.
So our house reel, the house reel, if we had a house reel, it would be a Shimano Nasi. That's our go-to. I want a really good reel, without going to the high-end price range. You want a Nasi, sir. And let me tell you why. So what we have is the new Nasi, the D. So that's your generation, right? So you had your Nasi, and you had your A, and you had your B, and you had your C. Now you're on the D. You got your copper accent, kind of new for Shimano, right? But check out the upgrades that Nasi got. So, if you look at their lineup, you're going to go Sahara, Nasi, Ultegra. So this has a lot of Ultegra features, okay? It has the one-piece bail wire. And if you look at that bail wire's actually machined.
That was a great upgrade.
So you don't have that, where that bail wire gets bent and loosens up around that round area where the line roller mates up. And then if you look underneath there, okay, Nick, we're going to need some of your finest camera skills. And you look right here. That fin, that little plastic fin right there. That looks like, what's that? What's that all about?
Turn that, George. Look what you're doing here.
Quiet on the set, Mike.
There you go. Now you can see it. Right there. Right there. Perfect.
See that little fin right there?
There you go.
That general fin region. That, believe it or not, washes the mass majority of twist out of your line as it comes back in. It's like you pinching your line and retrieving through it and having the twist go out of it. That little piece works.
Big time.
And I mean, this thing has so many other features that you'll find on Ultegra. This has the cold forge drive gear. So when you look at the drive gear on this reel, it's an aluminum drive gear. It's an alloy. There's no machining on that gear. That gear is pressed in a big time forge mill, whatever you call that, press. And they pop out and they're consistent. So they can make 1,000 reels, just grab a gear out of the box. And it enhances the integrity of that aluminum. So your wear, so as smooth as this is how it feels several years down the road. I don't care how hard you fish. A lot of other good features, just a lot of other good features that are behind the scenes. The body is a high strength resin. So it's not CI4 like the Ultegra, but it's high strength resin. So it's very much like that without being carbon. $124.99 for the 2,500 and the 3,000. This thing is spectacular. When you have a really high drag setting, that drag is cranked up real high. And you're loaded down on a big fish. You could take this real saltwater fishing, for example. You're loaded down on a big fish. You don't get that binding. You get that smooth rotation. So check it out. Nasi, $124.99, absolutely loaded with features. This is the SFT house reel, new generation. And if you come in here and you say, hey, I'm looking for a good reel, I don't want to pay the real high end prices, but I don't want something that's going to disappoint me in a couple of years, this is probably what you're going to walk out with. So check them out. Nasi, only thing in stock right now today is 2,500s. We got a lot of them, though.
Mhm.
We got a big old box in today. The rest are coming. The 3,000. There's a 500 for you trout guys. There's a 1,000 for you trout guys. 25, 3, 4, and a 5. The 5,000 is more of a striper size reel or a flounder size reel. But yeah, it's got a little something for everybody.
Yeah, and they're
A little something for everybody.
and they're treated, with the bearings and stuff that you can use them in saltwater too, and that's one of the
It's
things.
good stuff.
One of the things that they promote is saltwater capabilities.
So the 2,500 and the 3,000 are both 6.2 to 1. Guys, be careful.
That's awesome.
It is. But be careful, guys. If you're looking for, a high-speed retrieve reel, which is like 6.2 to 1, 36 inches a line, 35 inches a line, be careful because not every reel has a high-speed gear ratio. Some reels are intentionally built with a more powerful, slightly slower ratio, therefore taking up a few less inches of line per crank. If you're a finesse guy, and you're like dragging a finesse rig on the bottom, or you're making bottom contact with plastics or a jig, you want to be able to pick that slack up quick for a hook set. Make sure you get that high speed reel. Okay, do your homework, read the stats on the model that you're interested in. The 2,500 and the 3,000 are both 6.2 to 1. They're both 20 pounds of drag. They're both 8.3 ounces. The only difference is line capacity. So you have a 140 yards of 8 on the 2,500, for example, and 170 of 8 on the 3,000. And then your handle, that's called the I-shaped handle. And then your 3,000 is going to have the T, more of a paddle. So do your homework, guys. Study your stats. When in doubt, give us a call. We'll get you dialed in.
Dial you right in.
And that, as they say, people, is tackle talk for this week. We're going to run a little long tonight because we got a late start. We're going to go to like 10:30, 11. We got a lot to go over here. Don't sign off. Sign on. Going late. I'm on a roll, baby.
Well, we did have that snafu with that system tonight.
Which I blame on you.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. So I think
So does Nick.
yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. I think we're going to leave the topic for next week. But and we'll finish up with whatever comments we have, because I want to cover that fall fishing, but I don't want to do it in a rush. And
well, it's a cold front. It's how to deal with a cold front.
That cold front fishing. So we'll touch on that next week because of the snafu we had with the system. We don't want to keep everybody up.
I'm devastated.
But one thing, guys, I gotta ask you, because there's something going on right now that's pretty big.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
And we got the EQs finishing up, and one of our local boys that's very close to the shop.
Great buck.
It's fighting for an elite series spot. He needs a good day tomorrow.
Real big day.
And George, now my question for you is, and Mike, they're kind of hitting a rough patch down there right now. But from experience, what kind of changes do you think tomorrow could bring in that tournament for these guys?
Well, the best thing that could happen to Gray is that he stumbles on that wad of fish that guy with the 22 pounds caught. He stumbled on. He found them in practice, but they were gone. He said that they disappeared and he had to re-find them, and he stumbled on them, and then bam, he just caught him. So hopefully Gray can stumble on a little pot of feeding fish. And I mean, honestly, when you're dealing with this kind of weather And then Florida is known for it. They call it the Okeechobee limit. You either have 5 pounds or you have 25 pounds. That's what it is, because it's the running into the pot of fish that is just going, that's just feeding at that moment. And these guys can be fishing over top of a lot of idle fish. And that's the thing. They can be fishing over top of these. Tomorrow they could all bite. And he just needs to stumble into that, and he can do it very easily. He can be that guy that comes in with 18. If he comes in with 18 pounds tomorrow, I mean, this could be a mute point.
So check this out. And that's great stuff, Mike. By the way, that's very accurate. But check this out. Lake Okeechobee, which is so big you can't see the other side. There's a point in time driving across that lake that you lose track of shoreline. That's how big Okeechobee is. You
can see it from the moon, George.
Okay. Gray Buck made a run this morning in the Rim Canal. Okay, now it involves some idle zones. To give you a perspective of how big this playing field is, it took him almost 2 hours to get to his spot because he couldn't drive straight across the lake because it was like.
Well, plus he had to lock it. He had to lock through.
Well, that's why it was. But, I mean, he wouldn't have had to do any of that if he'd have ran across the lake.
Yeah.
And the reason he couldn't do that is because it's like the Atlantic Ocean when it's blowing like that. So that's how big we're dealing with. That's the playing field. But here's the deal. The cold front went through Tuesday. Was that the real cold day here? Tuesday?
I know it was. Yeah.
Monday or Tuesday. So
Monday.
If now I'm going to roll up and do some Jim Cantori on you here. Like, I mean, we had the jet stream coming, right? And it dipped hard, went down below Florida. Okay. There was like, I mean, let's just say this. The manatees were looking for some flannel blankets. And then it came back up. That cold front is not cool for Florida fish. But here's the deal. Today was the first day of recovery. Tomorrow is the second day of recovery. And really, it's more like the second and a half day of recovery. So today we had first place man with 23.15. That happens in Florida. There could be ice on Lake Okeechobee and somebody's going to catch 24 pounds. Then we went to second place at 19.1. Then we went to fifth place, Tristan McCormick, who is a stick at 15.7, okay? Robert Gee, Elite Series angler, seventh place, 14.11. Fisher and Yaya, 14.9 in eighth place with an 8.13. So here's the point. The point I'm making. Other than that 24 pounds, there was a ton of Okeechobee limits. And an Okeechobee limit's like 8 pounds, okay? 7-8 pounds. That's called a survival limit. So tomorrow is like 2.5 days into the recovery period. You can go back and forth on the same stretch of grass every day for 4 days. And these fish are filtering in and out. They're getting ready to spawn again. Okay. So, Gray, I see him rolling it, man. I'm talking rolling it.
Well, we also got to shout out somebody that I know you guys like a lot. Russ Lane is third place in points right now.
Big Papa. 22, 23 years. He's been doing this full time. And, you know,
that'd be great to see him get back to the elites.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, he left the elites on his own for MLF. He left MLF on his own to go to the elites. He's that guy. So
he is.
I have a full prediction on him getting it done tomorrow. Once he gets through tomorrow and gets in the top 10, he's in the elites because 9 of them make the elites.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know, that's really rough what you guys were talking about, though, because you're thinking about it and you're like, do I make that run again tomorrow? And do I fish that water again, knowing that it could be good or I could be
Same thing.
Same thing, or
Mhm.
do I go and fly around looking for new water?
You can't like leave your fish that you found.
Right.
They're there. And somebody's going to catch them tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a dynamic day. It's moving day.
Mhm.
Top 10 cut. These guys have invested, in my opinion, a season that's harder than an Elite Series season to get here. So a lot of them, tomorrow's the day. 70, 80 to $100,000 in expenses, untold hours of fish. I mean, this is as exciting as it gets. So tune in. They start rolling. I believe it's at like 7:30 in the morning. Launches at 7:30. And tune in, watch it. You're going to go to about 11 or 10:30, and then they're going to take a little break, get them a coffee, and come back at 11. They're going to roll. Top 10 guys have camera. It's exciting. You're going to learn a lot about, shallow water. Lake Okeechobee is 15 feet deep. The whole freaking lake is 15 feet deep.
Yeah.
So when they talk about like the water level being at like,
I think the highest mountain in Florida is 15 foot.
you can roll a marble. I know this is to be a fact. You can roll a marble from one side of Florida to the other. I don't know if you knew that or not. Roll it right across the state.
I believe it.
So here we go.
I know what I would do tomorrow. I would come into the shop, look at some of these new baits, and start watching some EQs tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Well, we're gonna have them streaming.
We'll have it on the big screen.
We're gonna have tomorrow's gonna be like a good time in here. If you get in the neighborhood, swim by. We're gonna talk trash. We're gonna talk football. We're gonna talk fishing. There's probably gonna be some feelings getting hurt, some arguments breaking out. May or may not have to ask people to leave. I'm not sure where it's gonna go, but come on in, see it, get a front row seat.
Yep.
Next week, we are going to bring you the late fall cold front show
Yeah.
and how to deal with it. And I think I'm going to rustle up a special guest for us who's going to tell you that all you need is a crankbait and a jerkbait. And I mean, this guy's a legend. He's been in the industry. He's been tournament fishing since there's been tournaments.
Yeah.
And that's how next week's going down, boys.
That'd be fun. I just saw Sean McNaughton signed in here. Sean, you're the winner of the Nomad Designs 25-hour gift card. So give us a call tomorrow. We'll straighten you all out, buddy, with that. Thanks, everybody, for stopping in. It's really great seeing all the good comments. Sorry we couldn't answer them all, but great comments.
How about thanks for sticking around while we had our technical difficulties.
Yeah, well, it wasn't my fault this time. I mean, Jim Arnold, Pat's 14, Jet 7. Thanks, Jim. Thanks. Appreciate that. Is that pretty close in the game? Was it just start?
It's just amazing that the Jets even have 7 points
Against the Patriots, who are
Let's
like
not talk
badass.
football
Yeah, anyway.
Focus.
So there you go. Thanks, guys, so much. We'll catch you guys all on the next Tackle Shop Live.
Right there, you took my breath away. A young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day, you called me up. You told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me your love is real.